All right, so we can pretty much start.
Alright.
Okay, so tell me what are you looking for?
I just okay. So I recently hit Diamond 2, and
Okay.
I feel like whenever I go against like master tier players,
hmm
they still like completely dumpster me, and I just like want to find out like what separates me like as a Diamond 2 player and them. Like because I feel like they like destroy the diamond range, and like um I don't really know how to describe it. Like I just want to like find out like I guess what's the secret that like
Okay.
happens
Well,
us.
it's not really a secret. It's more towards execution. Now,
Uh-huh.
from what I've seen climbing challenger, climbing masters is that the difference between diamond players and master players, and obviously even a difference between masters and challengers, is that in diamond they understand the game plan, but the
hmm
execution isn't there. In
Okay.
Master, they understand the game plan and then they can execute it as well. A Diamond player might understand, okay, I don't push here and I bounce back X wave, but they might not actually do it clean enough. The Master
Okay.
player will know how to do it, and then he'll actually be able to perform the act, and then obviously a Challenger player would be able to take that concept and put it even one step ahead. Um, so we're just gonna go in window because I literally lag if I don't do this while I'm coaching. Okay, so mid Oriana versus Syndra, this is all fine. Am I recording? I am. Okay.
I guess I just make like a lot of fundamental errors, and I guess I want to like clean those up too.
I mean, it's just performing. It's performing the game plan. Like your D2, I'm pretty sure you understand to a degree as to what you need to be doing. Even though, and we'll go over it. I'm gonna play through your perspective, so we can talk like a little bit easier to understand. I always do this. Okay, so
Okay.
going into the lane, we know Syndra is obviously similar range to us, relatively similar wave clear. Her harass obviously it's easier to land, so you can assume that she's going to be looking for the she's going to be looking to actually hit you while shove the wave in simultaneously. So
hmm
immediately we can play this lane in one of two ways. There's two ways we can play this lane. The first way is very simple. We hard shove the first two waves, and then we bounce back the next wave using the 7th minion to reinforce the enemy wave, and then coming back to us, landing as a freeze. Okay? The second
Okay.
way we can open the lane up is by not autoing. This is the Apto way, but this way once again is really difficult. Is we can actually just go ahead and let her auto, have the wave around here, match the wave clear, and then just kind of eventually play levels 1 to 4 around this area of the map, and then just kind of wait for a gank to happen.
Okay.
So there's many ways you can. There's one of two ways you can play this lane out. Most players, especially in North America, in Challenger and Masters, usually play out the lane in the first way where they just start shoving. The only
Okay.
other exception would be like maybe high challengers in Korea, maybe Apto. But once again, doing that strat is really difficult. The way you move into lane is once again really bad. You cannot enter the lane like this right here, because if she's good, okay, if she's like challenger, she walks
Okay.
up to you right here, Hughes hits these two, hits you as well, shoves the wave in as and then she
Okay.
can just dodge because this is a fairly open space for her to just simply maneuver,
Okay.
dodging your cube. So you never enter the lane like this. You always have to enter the lane like this or like this. Okay.
Okay. Got it.
Alternatively, we want to know where the enemy jungler started. Okay, so we can obviously play around that. Immediately, one thing you can do, a lot of high level Orianas do it, especially I've seen Bjergsen do it a lot, is in the initial stages of the lane, when the minions aren't even spawned yet, simply just throw your Q in the middle of the lane. Now what this does is, now the enemy can't actually approach, it basically denies the enemy for approaching certain angles in the lane. Where if you just
Okay.
simply walk into lane, throw the Q right here, she's now forced to stand and enter the lane like this, right? Because you can easily just get the Q here and then back up. And if
Okay.
she's really,
Do I look to like hit all six minions at the same time while I do this, or
if you
just
are
like
shoving, yes, but I'm talking about
okay.
when the minions don't even spawn. Like, say
Okay.
none of the minions are spawned, and then
Okay.
Syndra's just walking, you can just throw Q right in the middle. The
Okay.
mana is pointless because the mana you'll regen anyway.
Okay.
Um,
Got it.
so then obviously you can just like force a Q here, or force a Q depending on how she's playing. Now in this lane, assuming that you're playing for the level 2, the 3-wave technique where you shove in the first 2 waves, bounce back the next, you want to stand over here or over here. This is way too dangerous of the area to open the lane, and you want to just
Okay.
queue all the minions. Okay. Now what
Okay.
this does, it obviously pushes the lane. We don't want Syndra to attack us because her harass is easier to land than our harass. So we're gonna lose trades. Okay. So
Okay.
she's bad, and once again, this is not a good queue because what you need to do is you should have thrown the queue in the middle. Now that you've thrown the queue here, now okay, we made the error already to throw the queue, but now what this does, it actually gives us a bit of intel, right? And what that intel is, we know that Syndra's gonna dodge onto the bot hand side of the map, right? And the reason for this is because she did it initially. So we can assume that this player, especially at a master level, low master level, is gonna dodge somewhere around here. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Meaning the next time you throw your Q out, obviously not hitting when you obviously you should be hitting the wave, but other than hitting the wave when you actually have an opportunity to throw the Q out, you want to throw it at an angle like this. Okay. So you can actually have a higher chance of hitting her because you can assume that she's going to dodge onto the right hand side of the lane.
Okay.
Does that all make sense?
Could you go over that one more time, actually?
Okay. So basically, we hit our Q, right?
Yeah.
And then she dodged this way.
Okay.
We can assume she's going to do this again. Because these players, they have patterns, right?
Okay.
So the next time we hit our Q, we're going to not hit it this way in a straight line. We're going to hit it over here.
Okay.
So we can assume that we can actually hit her by, we can catch her on the dodge, okay?
Okay.
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 But then this Q in itself is actually a mistake because it should have just been straight through the lane here. Alternatively, if you are going to throw a Q like this, then you cannot be autoing this way. Then that means you're opening the lane in the second way where you're actually just letting her shove you in and then freezing over here. Okay? That in that case, it's fine. So there's two ways you're opening the lane up. And now, once again, this is as you were questioning me. What is the difference between master mid laners and diamond mid laners? It's understanding the game plan and actually performing it. You might know what I'm talking about, but your game plan might be, oh, I'm going to shove, but you didn't shove, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah. This is all fine. Where did the jungler start? I didn't even pay attention. Jesus, top side, okay. But we know this. We saw the leash come in. So we saw Cho'Gath come late. This is fine. That was really good. Okay. So now immediately, we can assume that we are looking to shove, right? Because we know that Udyr could do something like this. Right? He could level 2 us. So what we can immediately do is simply place the ward over here after shoving, obviously. So we queue this, we hard shove her in, and then we basically have the next cannon wave reinforce the minion wave first, and then have the wave shoved back into us. You can either look to just reset it, or just have it shoved back depending on how fast you push. But once you've done that, you have to get the ward here, and then you should be playing either right-centric, depending how Graves is moving, or alternatively, you can just place the ward over here, knowing that Udyr is going to be on this side, and then you can simply play right-centric, because you know that Graves is going to clear like this. Okay?
Okay.
Now, once again, you can put a bait ward here, but I don't want to get into that, mainly because it just doesn't really apply, mainly because you lose 2v2 here. But immediately just start shoving. Yeah, level 2. See, now, if you had crashed this wave, you would have been really nice for when Udyr decides to transition onto the right-hand side. By the time Udyr transitions on this side of the map and then looks to actually gank you, this lane would be like all the way back here instead of over here. Now, if Syndra was good, she would simply match your wave clear and then wait for Udyr to just kill you. Okay? And the reason we're in this really ugly game plan, this really ugly lane state, is because we didn't initially have a game plan, nor did we actually apply that game plan, right? So we actually basically, we wanted to shove, but we didn't hit her. And now that we are shoving, we're not shoving hard enough to the point where it's going to bounce back into us. This is going to be just a really nice freeze for Syndra. That's not what you want to do. Because you know she's immobile, she doesn't have enough escapes. So here, immediately, your first response should be to just hard shove the wave, and then hope to God she fucks up. Now, one thing you can do in this point of the lane, because you know you've completely butchered the lane in a way, is you can start standing next to your minions and start baiting out Qs. Now, if she's a bad player and she lacks discipline, she'll actually try to Q you, thus shoving the wave into you anyway, and that'll break this potential freeze that's about to happen. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so there's things you can actually play around. Even if you make missteps in the lane, you can still play around that. That was really good. I don't know what she's doing. That was really good. But it doesn't really matter because she gets a really nice freeze regardless. Yep. And here, just hit her back. Hit her back. Right? That's fine. But we walk into minions, right? Once again, you never, like, you're approaching the lane in such weird angles where, you're, like, right here, you got hit by a Q and all you need to do is just walk on the sides, right? This is the same thing you wanted to do in the beginning of the lane where you enter the lane from the sides rather than the middle.
Okay.
And here, immediately, because we know we're in a really bad spot, and we know that their jungler is on the right-hand side of the map and he's looking to actually gank us soon, we should just hard shove this wave into her. It'll expend mana, but it doesn't really matter. Now, when she throws that Q out, you can assume that she's a bad player. And the reason for this is because the wave is shoving into us now, right? And now all we need to do is just last hit and wait. We don't need to actually go for any harass. Because if you harass her, and she's next to her minions, you push the wave, then you're going to be making the same mistake she is.
Okay.
So at this point, what's your game plan? It's really simple.
Freeze.
Freeze, right? And then on top of that, this is also something that's gonna separate you from a Diamond 2 Master, and then obviously like upper echelons of Master by pinging, right? You should be pinging your bot lane because you know where Udyr is. He's obviously right centric. You know your bot lane doesn't have a ward. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're gonna die soon, right? So you should obviously be pinging your bot lane danger because Graves is in no, like, I don't know what Graves is doing either actually. But you know, obviously your blue could be down, and then Olaf goes straight blue, Gromp, or straight into bot, or just fucks that, goes scuttle, Raptor scuttle, and then goes bot lane. But you should be pinging your bot lane. Just because you're safe doesn't mean your team isn't.
Alright.
And you see the pings going down, so your bot lane should probably get ganked soon. And here we just smash the wave clear. Now, she's in a really ugly spot. So what happens when you freeze the lane? A number of things. First of all, she warded over here, so you can time that. Ward's going to expire at like 4 minutes and 30 seconds, so you know that she doesn't have a ward. Meaning you can actually execute a gank onto the right-hand side onto her. And the way you do that is basically play the lane over here, she'll be positioned over here, and then Graves can come in for an easy gank, okay? But that's irrelevant at the moment. Now, what this freeze actually does, is that she wants to break it, obviously, right? So now, how does she break the freeze? She uses spells, mana, and cooldowns. When she uses spells, mana, and and those three things, that's when you trade into her. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the only time you want to be trading into her unless she really missteps.
Okay.
But you're going to see her use Q on this wave probably, if anything doesn't happen here, and then that's when you want to start harassing her HP. This is fine. This is all fine. Now just all you have to do is just wait. So she just queued, she backs up. That's fine. Right? Now you shouldn't be afraid just because she queued. You can just start queuing. Now here you should walk up and queue these minions. Because what's gonna happen if she breaks this freeze? It's gonna crash in. You can't actually manage to have a proper freeze when another wave is incoming, so what you need to do is just immediately start thinning.
Okay.
So this is all fine. Here you should just call your jungler to... Oops, my bad. You should just call your jungler to come gank for you at this point. Once again, she's using cooldowns trying to break the freeze. But we should have thinned the wave a little sooner, because if we basically thinned the wave, this wouldn't be happening. Right? We don't need this many minions. We need like 1, 2, 3, 4 minions at best. We don't need 5, because that obviously will push the lane in. And at this point, you have the luxury of simply waiting for her to walk up and then just queuing like right through her. If you hit her,
I have a question. Well, what would be like the ideal like minion setup? Like 2 melees and like 2 casters, or like 3 casters, 1 melee, or does it not matter?
It's not. It does matter to a degree, but it doesn't matter to the degree where you're playing at. Basically, professional players they don't actually count the minions. They feel it, right? Obviously, you don't have to count that there's 5 minions here to feel like there's more blue minions than red minions, right? It's quite. You can just see it just through visual. It's obvious, isn't it? Now, if we added a few more minions, you can still you'll get the feel for it. Okay, I can freeze this. I can push this. This is gonna crash, etc. Right? Oops, I'm playing this too fast. That was really bad. But when you do that, look what happens. The wave once again crashes. Right? Now at this point, you should just let the wave reset and then try to play out the lane again. Alright, we also know Olaf is still right-centric, and he's going to transition onto the left-hand side, because you know his camps are going to spawn soon. Now, we also realize that this wave is going to push. So, once again, we're low on mana, and here we should just be calling for a gank. We also know that the ward is pretty much expired here at this point.
Okay.
Now, we're playing in a really weird state where, like, we could be a lot ahead. You know, you could literally be denying her so much more minions and so much. You could be harassing her so much, but because the initial part of the lane was played out with like a ton of flaws, we're losing, right? And the reason we're losing is because we're losing the mana war. Doesn't matter that she has more HP than you. Now, when this happens, very simple. Don't do this. Walk into the lane like this. A challenger player will understand that you walked into the lane like this and immediately back up. This Syndra in Master's Diamond will not. So all you need to do is just walk in like this. Therefore, you ensure the fact that she stays on the left-hand side of the lane. Because if you start basically looking for this gank and you walk up like this, she will position over here.
Okay.
And then this fucks up your Graves, right? So like, look what happened. Where she's on the wrong. Like, if you had just initially came here, she would have been here.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. She's warded, but you know, you get the idea. And at this point, we're just farming. There's nothing else to do. This is really good by Graves. But here, you don't do anything. Now, Graves' only job here is to simply chunk her out. Okay. You should not be ever walking out. Right? Because all Graves is trying to do is just maintain the freeze, even though it's pushing into her slowly because you have more red minions than blue. But if you chunk her out, she's in a really awkward spot now, because if she wants to recall to regain her mana or an HP, but then that basically loses her the wave because you can hard shove it. Alternatively, if she stays, then you just keep the freeze.
Okay.
So at this point, you never actually invest into this gank. You just wait. After this minion, you can go and scout her, but you don't actually do anything. You can stop her recall, and then you're fine. This is also totally fine. You did that on purpose, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to go over.
Would it have been better to look to hard shove it there?
No.
Okay.
No. It's better. You deny more minions by doing exactly what you did. So this is really perfect. See where she has to play the lane now? It's really bad. This is really good. Now, you hit her, what you should have done is you should have hit the minions, thin it a little bit, because you know that she's going to look to match the wave clear. And I just wait. You know she's going to Q this here. You know this is a really nice Q for her. Immediately just start hitting her with the Q. Just QW her.
QW, okay.
Yep. So the second she walks up, you should have just QW'd her. Okay, like we can go over that again because that was lane breaking, right? So like right here, you used QW, you missed it, I think. Yeah, you did. So now we just wait. Okay, now immediately throw the Q like right here, and then W. What that does is it hits this minion, kills her, and then harasses her a little bit.
Okay.
Okay. The reason you want to do this is because there's more blue minions than red minions, meaning that it's going to crash into you, and you're going to be forced to farm in her tower, and then she's going to harass you if you don't properly crash this. Grave should have repeat gank, but that's fine. Sorry, if she doesn't properly crash this. Once again, you know she's going to WQ, and you can that pretty much you can find out how the player is moving from the way they're facing, right? Because if she's facing this way, you can assume that she's clicking over here, meaning that she wants to do something forward. She's having a forward movement, meaning she wants to either harass you or kill a minion. And when you see that kind of movement in a champion, immediately just QW. QW, auto E, back up. And that pretty much crashes the wave anyway, but it doesn't matter because now you've chunked her to like this much percentage health, right? And then we just play the lane onto the left-hand side, or right-hand side, because we know Olaf is going to be clearing on this side of the map anyway. Okay, so that actually was really lane breaking. Now, a good jungler would have seen this, and then he would have just came and killed you from the back, right? And also start pinging for ganks. You can ping assistance from Graves, right? If you ping assistance, he will come, despite these minions here. It's not for the gank to actually kill her, it's just to kind of take away the pressure that you're already in. Okay, so you seriously start have to ping. You have to ping more, a lot more,
Okay.
because if you're not communicating, the players they're not gonna understand. This is fine. See, like if you had pinged him, he wouldn't be on Raptors. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He would
Yeah.
actually come in, but you're not communicating with your junglers. Just
Okay.
spam ping them. And like examples of pings would be like if your laner goes missing, just do this all until bot lane. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
same thing like over here, and then just like spam ping. You should be spam pinging. And when you're asking for a gank, you can just ask for like assistance. You know, you can spam it, and then they'll understand. If you had ultimate here and you actually communicated with your jungler, this would have been a fairly easy kill. Yep. So you should die here. Okay. Alright. It's just communicating the ganks. There you could never kill her. You shouldn't have flashed. Right?
Okay.
We know Graves isn't 6. He wouldn't be able to do anything. I mean, he had flash and smite, but our jungler isn't really the smartest of players, clearly. And you're playing in a region where most junglers just farm anyway, so you have to be aware of that. Like, they don't actually look for active ganks, and that's the big problem, but you have to basically play around that.
Okay.
Here, you can just get, so why don't you get, Merc Treads? It fucks up Cho'Gath. It completely evades Syndra, right?
I guess it's because I'm greedy.
Right? So Merc Treads.
Yeah, okay.
Merc Treads will get you right through the lane. You don't need to kill her. Right? Even if you go even in this game, you do not ever need to kill her. The Darksteel is like fine, I guess, but Merc Treads are a lot more important. You don't need the Sapphire Crystal at all. In fact, you don't even need the Darksteel. You can just get Mercs, and then you should be okay for the lane.
Okay.
And then if you just keep setting up the waves, you will just simply outscale it. Here, you should just take the ward out. She's not in the lane, right? If you do okay, so if she comes into the lane and then you take the ward out, their jungler could be here, and then you're dead, right? But you have no last hits to take, so simply take the ward out and then come back. You also know that the enemy jungler is, I think he's topside. Where is he? Or he's bot side. Okay, so yeah, so you do that, but it's a little late. But once again, you did it after she came into the lane. There, you're just throwing out abilities. It doesn't help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So cooldowns, like we can talk about cooldowns. Look, her Q 4 seconds, you can count that. Her W 12 seconds. Her E 16 seconds. Her ultimate is irrelevant. Okay, you can count these things. She just queued. So 3, 2. Okay, it's up, right? She's an idiot, but it doesn't matter. You can kill her here. Do you have ulti? Yeah, you do. Okay, good. Here you could have just recalled.
Just could have just recalled.
Well, now not anymore. You hit the wave,
Yeah.
and then Graves didn't see it either. So at this point, hard shove. But you had more blue minions. If you just recall, you come back to freeze all over again, and then you just ping your jungler to come help you. You don't just assume that he sees it because he most likely doesn't. Right?
Okay.
He's a fucking master player in North America. He doesn't see anything. Okay, so you need to just like have the minions here. There were obviously more blue minions when I pointed it out. You recall, you ping danger, he'll understand. You back up, you come back, lane's over with the counter with the regank, and then you win the lane. Here, just shove because there's nothing else you can do. And at this point, I mean, you could actually walk down with your jungler, but that might is this a cannon wave? It is. So you could actually walk down with your jungler. Evade, basically take pressure off of bot lane, maybe even get the kill if you're lucky. Recall, come back, and then catch the next wave. And because it's a cannon wave, you'll be able to actually get it. Also, you'll have Merc Treads, hopefully, right? So the movement speed will actually help you.
Okay.
So these are things you can do instead of recalling. So we can even time it. Pretend you're Graves. So you're going to be right here. Bot lane would go in. Something would happen right about now. Okay? So you would be here right now. Syndra's recalling. Or Syndra's coming back to lane. Okay, you recall, whatever. Even if you don't get a kill here, you recall and you will catch the wave by the time this wave hits the tower. Okay. It's just literally you can do it because obviously the tower is gonna hit. It's gonna kill the cannon wave a little slower. So it's really good. Okay. So I'm just gonna fast forward through lane phase. We'll talk about mid again.
Okay.
This is all fine. But are you seeing some of the problems?
Yeah.
Okay. It's really micro, but if you want to get into Master Challenger, you have to start actually performing those little macro things that you're lacking right now.
Okay.
Okay. That means understand your game plan, apply your game plan, and then communicate. That's three biggest things that are holding you back right now. If you're able to do those three things, and you can play the way you're playing now, you shouldn't have a problem in Diamond 2. You should just be instantly Master Tier.
Can you say those three things again?
So the first thing is obviously understanding your game plan. Okay.
Okay.
When we talked about you can approach the lane two ways, right? One is you can hard shove, bounce back the next wave, freeze. The second way is obviously we discussed it where you don't shove at all and you freeze immediately by hitting her outside of minion waves. Obviously that comes into the two things I just mentioned: is understanding what you need to do, applying those things that you need to do, and then on top of that, communicating what you want to do, right? Because it doesn't matter if you do the whole 3-wave technique and then you have the wave here and then you have a really nice gank, but you don't communicate it with your jungler. He's not gonna know because, you know,
Right.
yeah. I mean, he might know. Some of them might come, but most of them probably won't, right? So these are things you should be doing. Those three things will get you to Master Tier. Now at this point, you can just keep shoving and then roam with your jungler. The goal is to clearly open up bot lane, but this is all fine. And now this is just general mechanics, right? This is just general teamfight mechanics that I really don't have to go over. If you played out a teamfight a lot more cleaner, then you would not have an issue. You would be like 3-0 right now, you know? And you would be a massive influence in the game. I mean, here you should just back up. I mean, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna talk after bot lane balls because that's generally when lane phase is over and the rotations start happening. This is all fine. We're gonna shove. This is all fine. This is okay. Do you ask for blue buff? You should be actively.
No, I don't.
Okay, you should be actively asking for blue buff because you know that because the enemy is so bad that they're not gonna hand off blue to Syndra. What happens when you have a blue? Fucking lane priority forever, you know? And then what happens after you have lane priority? You roam with your jungler. You get wards. Your jungler can then kill the other jungler, but these junglers don't think so. It's kind of counterintuitive. So next time, once again, you have to ask and ping for the second blue buff. If they don't give it to you, you know, fucking whatever, they're bad, right?
Okay.
But most of them will, so be aware of that. Especially if they're playing like shit like Graves. They don't actually make use of blue that much, so you don't need to actually give it up. Yeah, they don't need to give it. They don't. You should just take it, right? They should just be giving it up to you. This is dangerous as hell. I don't have to explain why. And you get them, so it's fine. Why am I? Oh, I meant to pass forward. Alright. One thing I'm noticing while you're playing lane is that you're not clicking really well. Like when you walk into lane, like here, I'm actually gonna go back and then we're gonna sort of jump to lane. So let's go back to like 4 minutes for a second, right? And let's just watch you move. Oh, let's go before this, before you had no mana. Just watch how you move in the lane. Or let's even go back than this. Let's go to like literally level 2. Right. You're doing it here, which is fine. Like your clicks here are fine. Right? Right, but what you should be like, you need to be doing something like this, right? Like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right? It should be a little more often. Like, you're not doing this often enough. You're doing it at the beginning of the lane, but you should be doing it a lot more, right? This will increase your APM. It'll keep your hand relatively warm. It's basically kind of just being on your toes. And then on top of that, it keeps you very unpredictable, right? You can move in any direction. So these are things you need to start doing. I'm assuming this is where bot goes down. So we can jump back. So your clicks have to be a little bit better. One thing you can do is start looking at the professionals and see how they actually click their with their mouse, and then do the same. Okay. So bot lane here falls. You're sieging. I need to see what's happening, so I need to catch up. Syndra's dead. Like, you have no incentive to actually be here, right? You should just be top lane, right? Just shoving the wave. Or no, sorry, no. Scratch that. I just saw this. This is up. You should not be top lane. Just be bot lane. Just waiting. Like here, if you just recall, eat this, grab the bot wave, and then just wait for the dragon fight, you're fine. You know you
Wait,
guys.
I should be bot or?
Well, you should be bot lane.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, your Malphite doesn't seem to be doing that. Right,
and then our bottom goes mid, right?
Yeah, your bottom would go mid, and the reason for that is obviously because this is the objective. I actually have no idea when this is up.
Okay.
Was this already taken? I'm assuming this is already taken. So 20 minutes, Baron is up. So we can assume that obviously the timer is like 3 minutes or so. So you should just be shove this wave, go back bot, direct your bot lane to come here, shove it, eat this, take this, shove this, and then just start hitting vision here. Maybe a little bit here if you actually have if you're able to, and then just wait for the dragon fight. That's all.
Okay.
So here we're just gonna fast forward and look at the macro play. I mean, it's fine right now because your bot lane goes bot anyway, but just want to control the vision around the area.
Mm-hmm.
This is all fine. Your top has TP, so you're really good. You're not allowed to get chunked here. Okay? If you get chunked here, they get the dragon, which they already did. Right? So you should have just wave cleared instead of playing coin flip fights with her.
Okay.
I mean, this is all just mid game, right? I mean, do you have any questions so far from what we've discussed?
Okay, so I feel like a lot of games just get stalled out, and I feel like nothing's happening. I guess right now, so I'm just not really sure how to.
Okay, well, let's do this. I actually got this from a different coach. Someone else told me this, but if your team is at 1,400 gold, right, and then you're also at I don't know, 1,800 gold.
Okay.
You get to 20k faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 20k is the win. Obviously, you get to 20k faster. You only need plus 200, whereas they need a lot more, right?
Okay.
So even if nothing happens, you're still winning, right?
Okay.
Despite scaling, etc. Because in the chaos and solo queue, it really doesn't matter to a degree, right? You're still technically winning, so you don't actually have to do anything. And the way to progress the game is when you have a lead, obviously, is to use the minion waves. Right? So what can we tell right now? If this Syndra doesn't get caught out, and she wasn't here, and the map is dark, and you don't know where anyone is, the rotation is really simple. We know Baron's gonna spawn. So what do? If let's say our teammates are completely brain dead and they have no idea how to coordinate? Well, we recall, or we immediately walk bot. We tap the wave so it slow pushes into them. We then reset. We go run top and wait for this wave to bounce back into us. We then push the wave, get the wards, and then wait for the Baron fight. Now they're going to send somebody like Cho'Gath down to actually look for the fight. Whereas, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use Nami's flank wards that she's going to place back here because we're going to actually have priority in the lanes to teleport and look for a Baron fight.
Okay.
That's how you basically progress the game, and the way you did that is through hitting the bot lane. The first step to hit the bot lane here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that they get the slow push. So you want to generate some kind of pressure. It's really good by Jinx. So here, just siege because Syndra fucked up. Obviously, what I said is irrelevant because Syndra's dead. Syndra's dead, but you get the idea. That's general. That's the general rule of thumb. This is really good. Holy shit, he butchered it. And immediately here we just recall, right? We see our bot lane wanting to go down, and here we just recall, and then we go top lane. Okay. I mean, Malphite wanted to eat mid, I think, but it doesn't matter. So I guess we go mid now. But the idea is still the same. Right?
Okay.
So Syndra's bot, and this is when you want to pick a fight. This is when you go into their jungle, you push waves, and you look to fight. Because if you get a pick here, you get Baron. Syndra's bot. Right? So these are the key moments you want to actually look for something. So you can start pinging aggressively into their jungle and start moving into their jungle. Force them out of their jungle. And then what you can do afterwards is just bait them into a fight. With obviously using your vision. So this is one thing you can do. Because we know Syndra's bot. Here, just solo blue. What the fuck? Who's taking it? Is he taking it? I hope you are. Yeah, so just grab blue buff and then You know what to do afterwards. This is all fine. Does this all make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, at this point, there's not much to say. Like, this is just standard stuff. Alright. Being behind when you're right side and then they have Baron pressure is like one of the most fucking annoying things ever. But it doesn't really matter. Now this is just the enemy fucking up, right? This is just
we lost this fight though.
I mean, you lost the fight, yeah, but this is just the enemy making awkward decisions. But we can safely assume that if we had played the lane out a lot better, we would be a lot more fed and we would have a lot more impact in these fights.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Now I really believe I firmly believe that you can climb NA solo queue without game knowledge, right? You can simply just what do you call it? You can just have good mechanics, and you can probably just climb to like masters or something or challenger, right? And the reason is because of that. What just happened, right? If you just had better mechanics in the fights, you would simply win. I mean, that goes back to obviously playing the initial stages out in the lane. So if you had played the lane out better in the beginning, then would have been a little bit better. Baron's gone here. There's something you do immediately. Like you should just like concede Baron. Like it's already gone. Run bot. Because what's next? Ocean Dragon. But it's worthless, right? You don't care about it. But you know, regardless, you can still push this wave out.
Okay.
By pushing this wave out, this basically buys you a lot more time because now they're gonna spend their Baron buff pushing the wave back into you.
Alright.
So there's a number of things you can do. You should just be beelining for bot. Also, in addition, don't let your ADC get that wave. You should take it yourself. I mean, not that
it's so selfish.
I mean, it's solo queue.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
It's solo queue. I mean, you got mid wave, whatever, but you get the idea. Your intentions were to go top.
Okay. What if this was like competitive fives? Like, because I play collegiate as well, so how should we have like
story?
How should we have like what's it called? Split up the gold.
I mean, in that case, it should be. I mean, with this comp to your ADC, right? Well, you shouldn't be prioritized in actually. You should not be a priority in investing because you're gonna scale anyway. Right? You're not like a champion that requires a lot to actually function. You know. In that case, yes, give your laners the bigger waves, right? But collegiate is completely different than solo queue, so it's like a completely different game. There's a lot more things you can do in collegiate that you can't do in solo queue, so you have to acknowledge that. So comparing the two is really weird. The only thing I guess you can sort of compare, or like I guess the one thing that could be identical is just like team fights, right? But even then, it's just like, you know, you stress your mechanics in solo queue, and you do a lot better in collegiate. Or in fives, competitive, whatever. This is just ugly as hell. Here, we should have just immediately... okay, once again, you should be communicating with your team. You're playing very reactively. You're letting your team just walk into them. This is an Ocean Dragon. There's a fucking bot wave. This is dark. This is, like, almost dark. This is up. You can just, like, wait. You know? Like, there's no rush to actually run to Ocean Dragon. Your team dies again because they went straight to Ocean Dragon for absolutely no reason. But then...
So you give them the ocean and then...
Yeah, give them it's ocean. Who cares, right? I mean, what else do they have? Like... Yeah, they have, like, one other ocean. It's literally useless. Because you're not actually waiting for them to fucking regen. You're looking to kill them immediately. You have Graves, you have Malphite, you have Orianna, Jinx. Like, you're not looking to poke them out at all. You're looking to just all in and kill them. So... I mean, you should have once again communicate, right? This goes back to you not even like asking for ganks, right? Because if you're not gonna ask for ganks, you're not gonna like. Chances are you're not gonna communicate mid game either, right? So if you had just simply told them to not do that, then they would have not died, and that would have basically saved you like 3 deaths or something, right? Do you have merch set? No, you have fucking Sorks. That's fine. Okay. I mean, at this point, like, you should lose the game. Right? Jinx is not at the level where she like Jinx doesn't actually have her next item yet anytime soon. So yeah, no, it's really bad. I mean, they fucked up, so that's okay. Do you win this? Please tell me you don't win this. Holy shit, you actually won this, dude. Yikes. How do you win this? You're actually just...
Oh, no, never mind. I didn't win the game, but...
Oh, no, you don't win this, okay, because I see the blue net, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine. Now, at this point, you should just be going blue and bot. Tell your top laner to go top. He shouldn't even be down here. Right? What gold does a Malphite actually require? And instead of farming this, just beeline straight top. Just go straight. Just, yeah, because you don't want to share XP. Right? Because the last thing Jinx needs is fucking levels, like a level deficit. She needs the items. Because if Jinx gets the items, that's your win condition. Because you don't possess the damage to actually make an impact in the game at this point unless you get like a really game-changing ultimate, right? But now look what happens top lane. You're fighting onto the right-hand side, right? When there's a huge wave that you can simply farm and back up from, right? So you're forcing stuff. You're basically you've acknowledged the fact that you're behind, and now you're trying to, do something. Like say this fight goes through, and then you end up blowing a summoner. Nothing happens if you kill Rakan here, right? Nothing happens if even if you don't blow a summoner. You kill Rakan, absolutely nothing changes. Because you can get the same amount of gold and possibly more by just simply farming this wave here. And this actually gives you more ample time because it lets you stall the game out longer because now they have to shove back. Right? So every time you look for a fight, just ask yourself why you're actually doing that. Because if you don't have a reason to why you're fighting, your chances are you're probably not gonna win the fight, or you're probably doing something wrong. Because I see so many like Diamond Master players start blowing flashes and shit when there's just no objective to be taken off of it. It just doesn't make any sense. Now here you should be pressing. If we had pushed out top lane, grouped mid, acknowledged the fact that they have to send someone here to actually answer to this, and then by the time you've already pushed this wave out, you could have been here pressing mid lane. What happens when you press two lanes at once? They're forced to actually start. They lose numbers. You know Cho doesn't have TP. So the second they fucking send Cho down and you're stuck there with a 4v5 and you get a 4-man ultimate, that's your way into the game. That's your way back. That's your win. Okay? And then you obviously start taking towers off of that. But you're not going to get into those situations unless you're actually preparing the waves preemptively. And this comes back to actually understanding what you want to do before you actually do it. So instead of playing the game at 28 minutes, you should be playing the game out at like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Well, not 40 minutes, it's kind of long, but like 35 minutes, right? You need to be thinking like 3 or 4 minutes into the future. Okay? I mean, I'm not, like, nothing, there's not much else to talk about, honestly. It's just poor macro decisions. It's just finding these openings. You need to look for these openings. And that's something else that also separates Diamonds and Masters, is when you're not looking for these openings in game, you're not going to actually exploit the enemy. Because they're making so many smaller mistakes that you're not realizing. And you're just constantly fighting. You're literally like that. You're literally like that one school kid who just, like, you lose a fight to the big bully, and you know he's fucking, like, a lot stronger than you, you know, and you're like 4'3" and you weigh like 400 pounds, but you still fight him anyway. Right? I mean, you're gonna lose anyway. You're gonna lose, but you keep doing it. Right? There's no thought process. Like, I mean, there's other ways. I'm not gonna fucking tell you how to beat somebody up, obviously, right? But there's other ways to do it. You know? You know, you can sit on them or something. You know what I'm saying? Right? And the way you want to do that is through controlling waves. Right? It's a really weird analogy I gave you, but you get the idea. You don't just fight someone stronger than you. You're gonna fucking lose. It's common sense. So, at this point, they're gonna Baron and they're gonna end the game. I mean, there's nothing really else to talk about. What do? Yeah, so they win a team fight and they end the game. Right? There's not much else to really coach at that point because Baron, bot inhib is gone, and then team fight, and it's already over. So, the reason you lost this game is through a number of reasons. The first thing is not understanding your game plan. The second thing is not actually performing your game plan properly. The third thing is not communicating early ganks. The fourth thing is not actually communicating to your own team as to what to do. So you're not leading your team properly. So they're just walking in like fucking mindless zombies into their deaths. And the fifth thing is finally not understanding how waves work to actually exploit the enemy's shortcomings as individuals, basically. Because you know that these players aren't smart enough to actually control the waves. You know that the teleport play can be worked around, even if he TPs. Because there were numerous times when he didn't have TP up, but we didn't actually manipulate the waves in our favor. Right? And now that goes back to obviously not thinking ahead in the game. So like if you're playing 35, 20, 30 seconds in the game, you should be playing at like 40 minutes or 30 or 37 minutes, right? Or 36 minutes, right? So unless you're gonna do that, you have to like once you start doing these things, you're gonna that's the difference. It's gonna get you to masters. And then that's the fight, and then you lose the game. Okay. Do you have any questions?
No, not really. That was pretty extensive, I feel.
Yeah. If you do have any questions, you can just contact me anytime on Discord.
Is this going on YouTube, you said?
Yeah. So you can get back to it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Right. I've been a fan of your YouTube channel, by the way.
Dude, I have like 200 subs. I literally don't even invest in it, you know? But,
like I before it had the little descriptions like this YouTube channel is only for portfolio purposes. Like, oh damn it.
Oh yeah. That was before like I actually gave a shit. And now I'm like, okay, well, fuck. I should actually do something with League. You know, I shouldn't just, you know, because I'm never gonna play pro and I'm never gonna stream. So it's like, might as well just coach people. But anyways, if you have any questions, just message me on YouTube, Discord.